Hi, I'm Dr. Dave.
I'm Samm Diep.
And I'm Randy Russell.
We, as a team, teach the Billiard University Summer School Boot Camps.
Today, we want to show you the top 10 myths that many of our students have believed over the years.
Well, let's start debunking.
Have you ever heard this before? If you elevate the cue, you'll get more draw. Now, you can get good draw with the back of the cue elevated, but backspin is actually lost when the cue first drives the cue ball down into the table, more than would be lost with the cue ball sliding on the cloth on the way to the object ball with a more level cue. One reason people elevate the cue is that it helps them get the tip lower on the cue ball. But you can also do this by flattening and lengthening your bridge. With a level cue, draw will be more effective, more accurate, and more consistent. Elevating the cue does not produce more backspin. For the reasons why, and for more advice, see the Draw Technique resource page linked in the video description. Now, sometimes cue elevation is required with a draw shot, either to reach over an obstacle or to provide quicker draw. Here's an example where a level cue draw shot on the 13 would not allow a breakout of the 1-9 cluster. An elevated cue allows the cue ball to draw back at a steeper angle. The cue ball doesn't have more backspin than a level cue shot, but it has less forward speed, which allows it to draw sooner. For more information, see the Quick Draw resource page linked in the video description. Have you ever heard this before? A closed bridge is better for draw shots. This is just flat out wrong. You can't achieve good draw with a closed bridge. But you can also achieve equal or even better draw with an open bridge. Now, if you have stroke flaws where you tend to lift the cue up during the stroke, maybe because of grip tightening, the closed bridge loop finger can serve as a band-aid and keep the cue down. But a better approach is to heal your stroke flaws and use an open bridge, which offers advantages. For more information and advice, see the Bridge Technique and Bridge Type resource pages linked in the video description. Have you ever heard this before? Sidespin affects the path the cue ball takes off the object ball. Here's a pure stun shot with no sidespin, with the cue ball heading in the expected 90-degree rule tangent line direction. Randy needs to get position on the 8 ball in the side pocket next. Here's the same stun shot, but this time with left spin to get shape on the 8. And here's the same stun shot again, but this time with right spin. Did you notice that the cue ball headed in the same tangent line direction for each shot? Sidespin does not change the direction the cue ball heads off the object ball. Generally, sidespin has an effect only when the cue ball hits a cushion, where the rebound angle is changed. Now, the cue ball can throw the object ball offline some. With no sidespin, there is cut-induced throw in the direction of cue ball motion. There is also cut-induced throw with inside spin, in this case left. And with a large amount of outside spin, in this case right, the cue ball throws the object ball in the spin-induced throw direction. For more information and demonstrations, see the throw links in the video description. Have you ever heard this before? A swooping or swiping stroke can apply more side spin. A swoop stroke is where you aim center ball and swing the backhand out during the stroke to apply spin. You can certainly apply side spin in this way, but it will not be very accurate or consistent. When attempting to apply maximum spin, it is easy to miscue. It can also be more difficult to aim because the cue is changing direction during the stroke. A much better approach is to align the cue with the desired amount of spin in the direction required to compensate for cue ball deflection, and then stroke perfectly straight. Here, if I apply maximum side spin, I can even go beyond the desired target. This would be possible, but very difficult with a swoop stroke. For more information about how to adjust your aim when using Sidespin, see the links in the video description. Have you ever heard this before? Low deflection shafts allow you to put more spin on the ball. Here, Sam is using a drag shot to apply maximum side spin, hitting the cue ball straight up table to see how much rebound angle change she can get off the cushion. Even though this is an LD shaft, a Predator Z2, notice how she still needs to compensate for cue ball deflection. Here's the same shot, but with a non-LD solid maple player's shaft. Notice how her aim is now different to compensate for the larger cue ball deflection, but the cue ball still heads straight up table. And as you can see, both shafts produce the same amount of side spin. Have you ever heard this before? Throw is not important in pool. Well, here's an example shot that cannot be made without throw. If Randy barely misses the 3, he can't get the 8 to the pocket. But if he uses a pocket speed stun shot with about 50% right side spin, he can throw the ball in with spin-induced throw. If he had ball in hand instead, he could alternatively place the cue ball for a half ball hit on the 8 and use a soft stun shot with no side spin to throw the 8 in with cut-induced throw. Throw is most certainly important in pool. Have you ever heard this before? Spin transfer is not important in pool. Here's an example that will prove this wrong. A straight-on bank shot is fairly easy to aim and execute. However, if there is a cut angle like this, and I send the cue ball to the exact same ghost ball position with no spin, the object ball will come up short. This is because the cut angle transfers right spin to the object ball, which makes it go more to my right or short off the cushion. Likewise, if the cut is in the other direction, and I again aim to the same ghost ball position, the cut will transfer left spin to the object ball, causing it to go left or long. Therefore, spin transfer is very important. One way to deal with cut-induced spin is to eliminate it using gearing outside spin. Here, I am using my system for aiming with side spin. With gearing outside spin, the bank goes. For more information, see the spin transfer and saws links in the video description. The bank also goes if I instead adjust my aim to overcut the ball slightly to compensate for the cut-induced spin. Here are the same two methods applied to the other shot, starting with gearing outside spin. Here, I'm overcutting the ball to compensate for cut-induced spin. Here's a fun example of spin transfer. It is called a twice-across bank shot, and it relies on cut-induced spin and rail-induced spin reversal. The 3 ball blocks the 1 rail cross-side bank, so I need to go across twice to the pocket by the 8. For more information about how to execute this type of shot and how it works, see the twice-across page linked in the video description. Have you ever heard this before? More spin creates more spin-induced throw. Here's a shot we saw before, where the 8 cannot be pocketed with a straight hit, barely missing the 3. Earlier, we saw how to use spin-induced throw or cut-induced throw to pocket the ball. If you use just a small amount of spin, throw is very small. Maximum spin-induced throw occurs with a slow stun shot with about 50% or half of maximum spin. If you use more spin, you might think you would get more throw, but you would be very wrong. Here, maximum spin produces much less throw. Have you ever heard this before? The type and quality of stroke changes the shot action. Here's an example where Randy is using a high tip position to play a forced follow shot to get shape on the 8 up table. He is using his normal stroke, but with a long backstroke and smooth accelerating forward stroke. Some people think that a different stroke type with the same tip position will create a different shot outcome. Here, Randy is lining up for the same tip position and aim, and is using the same cue ball speed, but this time he will use a short, punchy stroke instead. If he hits the cue ball with the aimed tip position, the cue ball would do the exact same thing as the previous shot. But look at what happens here instead. So does a different type of stroke produce different cue ball action? Only if the tip hits the cue ball in a different spot with a different speed. The cue ball doesn't know or care about the type of stroke you use. It only knows where and how fast you hit it at the brief moment of contact. This second shot worked because the punchy stroke caused Randy to tense up his grip, which lowered the tip below where it was initially aimed. It is not the stroke type that sends the cue ball less forward, it is the lower tip position at impact. This could have been more easily achieved instead with a normal, smooth, and relaxed stroke with a lower tip position. For more information, see the stroke type link in the video description. Have you ever heard this before? Finding your dominant eye is important. First, if you want to learn more about what dominant eye means and how to find it, see the link in the video description. My dominant eye is my right eye. Some people say you should align with your dominant eye over the cue for best aiming results. This might work for some people, but for most people, it is dead wrong. When I do this and aim the shot so it looks straight, my brain lies to me and I miss the shot. Every person has a unique head position that allows them to most accurately see the correct line of aim. I call this the vision center position. For more information about what this is and how to find it, see the link in the video description. One simple way to find your vision center is to set up a long straight shot and have somebody help you place and hold the cue in a position lined up correctly to pocket the ball. Then move your head back and forth, keeping your face square to the shot with your eyes level. When you go too far to one side, the shot will look bad. And when you go too far to the other side, the shot will also look bad. But there will be one head position somewhere in the middle where the shot will look like it is lined up perfectly. This will be your vision center position. Knowing your dominant eye, if you have one, is not important. What is important is finding your personal vision center and aligning it consistently over the line of every shot.
We hope you enjoyed our top 10 billiard myths video.
And we look forward to seeing you at our next summer school boot camp.
Good luck with your game from our Billiard University instructor team.